Thursday off the rails. It's party time, Mom. You know, it is Thursday, and it is going to get wild in here. As wild as it gets. A couple of dudes sitting here, you know, hanging out on the couch, in the chair. Bobby Sausalito's back. At Take Naps on Instagram, BobbySauce.com. Glad you're back. Dude, tell me your background. I mean, you've been doing the videos in the car. You've been doing this stuff, funny stuff. Everybody's got to be following you. And your Instagram took off. You're right at 100,000 followers right now.
Almost, yeah.
Go ahead. You know what? Subscribe to his Instagram, at Take Naps. Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Where'd that come from?
I'm a web developer, and I've always bought domain names, and I always bought like short, succinct, easy to spell, easy to remember names.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be looking around the term of naps, and I was like, I love naps. I want a nap, and it just happened to be available. 2013, I registered it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I did. I always knew that something was going to happen in my life. So when the internet became a thing and you could buy URLs, I bought ChadPrather.com.
There you go.
That was like the first thing I ever bought.
Smart,
then I the same way. You know, Allison that works with me, everybody knows Allison. She buys she's got a list, dude. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? How many of these things do we need? But some people are better at buying web domains than I am.
Yeah.
You got to think random, right?
Yes.
But when I was talking about doing this new sign up for Blaze TV, and I was talking about we're going to get raw and down and dirty, ChadNude.com.
Yeah.
Had to buy it that day.
Yeah.
Bought it for a penny.
Yeah. Yeah. I had over 600 at one point.
Really?
Because I was a web developer for 13 years. So I was a domain investor. I thought that would make me a millionaire. So I would buy short, succinct words or phrases.com. And I had like 600 at one point, which is like over $5,000 a year in renewal fees. And I sold some of them. I made some money on them. And now I still probably have about 100.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because
I mean, it's crazy. The things that in this day and age, which have some value to them that you would never think.
Yeah.
But like I've tried to buy certain things and it's like $37,000 for these domain. I'm like, damn.
Because it's a thought pathway to whatever you want. Yeah. It's like if you could say something that would be easy for you to remember, like what is the value of that? Like Take Naps, for example. What is Take Naps? It's 2 syllables. It's 8 letters. It's easy to spell. Every person understands what it is. It's in normal conversation and it's memorable. Yeah. So it's like that's extremely valuable. If somebody will hand me their phone and they'll be like, "Oh, put your Instagram in," and I'll just go Take Naps. And they're like, "Oh yeah, Take Naps, yeah. Put it in." I'm like, no, it's Take Naps.
Yeah.
And then they'll never forget it.
That's why I've always done Watch Chad. You know, the CH's in the middle can get a little complicated, but anyway, that's kind of fun stuff. My brain's always thinking in terms of a marketing thing. I'm good at it in some aspects, and in other aspects, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. And anyway, something's worked. I don't know. I'm sitting here. Glenn Beck lets me shake his hand.
Yeah, there you go.
Every now and then.
We can't be good at everything.
What I said, Bobby, a while back, and I believe this is still true. I'm mediocre at enough things that if I do them all together, I'm reasonably good overall.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
So that's kind of where I'm at. But so you're a web developer. We talked a little bit last night about how you got into doing the videos in the car and stuff like that. But overall, what's your background?
So I, when I was 18, I decided I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to work for myself. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I figured I was smart enough to understand that if I started at 18 and did it for the rest of my life, that it would work no matter what. I listened to enough successful people. So I was like, what is going to be my pathway there? So I listed out all the things that I didn't want to do. I don't want to work outside. I don't work on a weekend. I don't work at night. So the computer seemed like it was early enough stage that I could use that as like the vehicle that I would ultimately take me there. Yeah. And I started building websites when I was in high school, and some older people would be like, "Hey, could you build a website for my business or whatever?" And I was like, if a 50-year-old person that owns a business needs me and I'm 18, then I have value in the marketplace. If I did this my whole life, it would work. So I was like, all right, internet. Then I wanted to be a graphic designer on the internet, realized there wasn't enough money there. And then I realized that building a website was like, instead of being an electrician, it's like building the entire house and being an electrician. So that's why I started building websites. Did that for 13 years and then started making the videos.
Yeah. It's crazy. You became a TPUSA ambassador.
Yep.
We got connected through our mutual friend Brooke Sands. Shout out to Brooke. I love following her on Instagram because she's always wearing those skimpy bikinis. And it's like, you see this. Ooh, there's multiple pictures, and you slide over, and it's an inspirational thought. I'm like, that is like some bad clickbait tricking right there. I mean, here's a girl, and you're like, oh, she's going to show me another angle. Nope. No, anyway.
And you have to check.
You got to check because you never know.
There's only two, and you're like,
it's some Nietzsche quote.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Brooke's boobs and Nietzsche.
An inspiration, yes.
Yeah, but anyway, shout out to Brooke. She's awesome.
Yes.
She's like 6'7", and I always say all the good stuff's at eye level. Yeah. Anyway, I love you, Brooke. And she connected us. She sent me a message and said, you got to know this guy. And I'm glad she did because you and I, we come from different backgrounds with a lot in common.
Yes.
In that stuff. So I'm glad you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I
appreciate it. And being a voice, dude, because that's what's got to happen. Right? That's what's got to happen. Like, you talk about web developing and computers and the internet and all those kind of things and being an entrepreneur. I've always been that way. I wish I could go back to, say, 1998 and know then what I know now.
Yep.
Golly. I mean, can you imagine?
Right.
But you can't. So you just kind of have to keep feeling your way in the dark and doing your research and your due diligence to keep moving forward. And I say that because this applies to the people who are listening to the show and watching the show. Like right now, we're sitting at an opportunity to kind of take over the world if we want to. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to go to work. Everybody wants to sit at home and draw stimulus checks. Yeah. Right? We see that the big power brokers, the oligarchs, the billionaires, the elites, everybody, they're taking over the world. Glenn's new book, The Great Reset, kind of proves that point. We've got an opportunity to kind of come in and be a voice and guide people culturally in a certain direction. So as you're building that platform, people say, I always love it when people say, you just got too much time on your hands. Yeah. You heard that one?
Yeah.
It's like, to go stand in line at the bank now because we dreamed a little bit and took an opportunity to do something. We're able to cash in on it in some ways, but at the same time, creatively getting a message out there is critical to what we're living in these times in order to shape culture and ultimately politics and everything else.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. I think that I never really knew what I could give back to the world, but the market kind of presented this opportunity to me. And what I realized is that simply changing the way that people think or encouraging them to think differently is a world-changing thing. Yeah. And it's like if you are in the shower and you have a thought and you tell that thought to one guy or gal that tells another person, or they maybe mention it to you in passing. Yeah. Maybe it's the janitor here in the building. They were thinking about something. You could then go broadcast that to 100,000 people, and one of those people could have another 100,000. And just like that, you could change 1 million people's mind. And then if 10 years from now, that thought changed the way that you think, and then you become the president of the United States or the governor of Texas, it's like, that guy's thought in the shower changed the entire world. Yeah. So imagine if you got in the habit of auditing your thoughts, auditing the words that come out of your mouth, and being very thoughtful and intentional with them, and then broadcasting them consistently forever. It's like, that's world-changing stuff. And on top of all that, the things that you say right now will exist into history far beyond even your life. It's like there's a memory card the size of a stack of postage stamps that you could save data, up to 360 terabytes of data on a little crystal that would last for over 1 billion years. This technology exists right now. You could send that to the International Space Station and it could outlive the entirety of human existence. That's the technology we have right now, which means the video you make today could be watched 500,000 years from now, should human beings be alive. Imagine the power of that. That's how important our words are right now.
It really is.
That's
huge.
World changing.
I mean, we think in terms of the butterfly effect. I was watching It's a Wonderful Life over the holidays. George Bailey. Angel Clarence comes down and he shows him what the world would be like if he'd never existed.
Yep.
And Violet's a whore, and Mary's a spinster,
right?
And everybody's dead,
yep.
And all because of George Bailey,
exactly.
George Bailey,
exactly.
And so, building and loan,
yeah.
And so I'm like, every time I want to get down about it, I'm like, you use these platforms, you use these words, you put them out there, and the spoken word is a powerful thing.
Yes.
The Bible's full of all these admonitions about how you handle your words, and the word spoken doesn't return void, and all of these things. It doesn't come back in vain, and all these different things that you're right. Like being careful with the words you say, being deliberate with those things, choosing those words, And, you know, like there's people who probably watching this show. My good friend Amy Warrer, at Amy What's Her Face. You know, Amy's sharp, she's smart, she's talented, she's got all this stuff. And you know, she doesn't have as big a following as some people that are out there, but just as influential in her realm, right? My buddy Jeff Smith, Texas conservative, the Texas conservative. I think he's on like the fourth iteration or fifth iteration of his TikTok because he keeps getting banned. Yeah, right. These guys out there who are just building these things, and so I go out there and I'm like, if I can influence influencers, you're right, because if I can reach 100,000 people, million people, whatever it may be, those people can do it. Then exponentially, we get out there, and now you've got hundreds of millions of people that are collected in a certain way all through a spoken word that they found some form of fellowship around and can relate to. That's how you change the world.
Exactly. And it's everywhere all the time, forever. It's like, imagine if Ron DeSantis's buddy in high school put him onto a book or said something to him that now he's broadcasting to the entire state of Florida, to the entire country, to the entire world. It's like, you don't even understand the power of your words, and they are important and powerful right now. Even if you have 100 Instagram followers. And it's like, I'm a perfect example. It's like I had my 800 friends and it reached 60,000 people overnight. And now you're talking tens of millions of views. And here it is being planted again. And that person that never knew is now going to go back and relive those and circulate it through their social circle. It's like, that was something I thought of 2 years ago. And here it is cooking forever. It's like, imagine, it's like, it makes you not want to waste a time that you're saying something, especially not if it's recorded. And even more so, it makes you not want to waste your thoughts.
Yeah. And I always say, you know, you're only as strong as your network, right? So again, another biblical example, you know, Jesus told the disciples, throw the net off the side of the boat, and they pulled the fish in and the nets were breaking. That net is your network, right? What you're going to bring in is only going to be to the degree that your net is strong. And the knots that hold that net together, those are the Brooke Sands of the world. Those are the people who are the connectors, the knots, right? They're the ones who bring people like me and you together. And she's an influencer herself, of course, but those folks out there say, well, I don't really have a voice. Yeah, but you can be a connector. You could be that person that says, okay, I'm going to bring voices together. This person needs to know this person, and so on and so forth. Some people that comes natural to. But the world at large, and what we're saying is so important because we're trying to impact culture. We see it slipping away. You know, we watch the TikTok videos of these people who can't decide what their gender and their pronouns are and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, it's a very confused world. Somebody's going to control that mind. Somebody's going to control the direction that those people go in their lives. Right now, it is the George Soroses of the world. It is the political machinations of the elites. It's all of these things, you know, whether it's the Epsteins, you know, and that crazy nonsense or whatever, the things that capture our attention in the mainstream media, whether it's American Idol or whatever those shows are that are out there, The Bachelor. You know, we see these things and we're like, oh, the Kardashians, for crying out loud. That shapes our mind. It shapes our culture. And that's the direction we go. But that ain't real life. It's not real life. So we got to bring people back to real life. That's the thing. So
it's dire. It's dire.
Yeah,
and like we probably don't want to talk about this. We would like to joke around about nothing. Like, or whatever, bullshit about life. We don't want to sit here and like fight for the world. We want to because we feel called to, that the marketplace said that you could have an impact here. Like, we don't want to talk about the fact that these people are nuts. It's just we just feel like there's really no other option.
Well, and the thing is, people say, oh, you're just picking on these people. Well, yeah, I am, because I'm pointing out the absurdity of it. But there is a point. I want you to get back to a point of critical thinking and some complexity of thought. You know, I go all the way back to 2015 when we were in these primary races. Hillary Clinton and Trump wound up emerging as the candidates. And I did a video on the side of I-20 in East Texas where I said, trying to figure out which candidate to choose is like trying to figure out which venereal disease you're most okay living with for the next 4 to 8 years. That launched me into a political realm that here I am running for governor. I mean, it's just all this kind of crazy stuff. You never know what it's going to lead to. So I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and it's good stuff. We got a ton more to get into. Before we go to a break, is Dr. Fauci and Joe Biden making you nauseous? They definitely make me nauseous. Are you feeling nauseous right now on your commute? You get a little motion sickness, that kind of stuff, any of that stuff. If you've ever experienced nausea and vomiting, whether from motion sickness, anxiety, morning sickness, Joe Biden, or any other condition, you know how quickly your body can turn from calm and balance to a red alert crisis mode. That's why I got great news. There's a thing out there that I love. It's called Reliefband. It's the #1 FDA-Cleared anti-nausea wristband that's been clinically proven to quickly relieve and effectively prevent nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, your husband, chemotherapy, so much more. The product's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy. It provides all natural, long-lasting relief, 0 side effects as long as you need it. It stimulates, you wear it on your wrist, it stimulates a nerve that travels to the part of the brain that controls nausea. It's going to block the signal your brain is sending to your stomach telling you that you're sick. So Reliefband just released a new model. It's called Reliefband Sport. It's waterproof, has an extended battery life. It can even attach to your Apple or Android watch. Reliefband makes a great gift for anyone, any time of the year. Right now, they've got an exclusive offer just for our listeners and viewers. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code WATCHCHAD, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping and no questions asked, 30-day money-back guarantee. So head over to Reliefband, RELIEFBAND.com. Use promo code WATCHCHAD, 20% off plus free shipping. We'll be right back. Listen, I don't want to call myself a prophet and a prognosticator, but I am pretty damn intuitive. And I said that, we lost Betty White, we lost Bob Saget. Betty, of course, was 99. She was going to turn 100, I think, on the 17th or 19th, something like that, of January. But she'd just gotten boosted.
Yeah.
She'd just gotten the booster shot. And then Bob Saget, 65 years old, they found him and we'll never know. We'll never know. They'll never tell us.
That's right.
They'll never tell us. The fact that they don't, and again, Betty was 99, so they're not going to tell us anyway. They just say, she died peacefully in her sleep. Okay, yep. That's that. The wind could have blown, and Betty could have died, right? But Bob Saget, and I was saying this the other day on the Tuesday show, I was like, oh, come on, don't hammer guys just because they're in Hollywood. Oh, they must be pedophiles or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody in Hollywood, a lot are. A lot are creepy.
Seems that way.
Creepy people.
Yes.
All I ever heard about Bob was good stuff. I don't know. I don't, not my circus. But he had just said back in December that he'd gotten the booster, right? Juiced and boosted. Well, now another sage of the ages, a prophet among us, Hulk Hogan. He's not dead, but he is pushing the conspiracy theory that vaccine shots killed Betty White and Bob Saget. I said it first. I said it before Hulk Hogan. Yeah, brother, let me tell you something. Hulk Hogan. I mean, we're talking about this. We're talking about this. He said, 100% Betty and Sydney were also jabbed. They're dropping like flies, but they'll never say it. That was his quote.
Who'd have thought based Hulk Hogan 2022?
Based Hulk Hogan.
It's like, I didn't see that one coming, but that checks out.
Yeah. But that's, and then you had Sidney Poitier, who died. He was 94. Like, I don't know that we can make a big case over these people who have lived to be a century.
Right.
Right. That's, somebody said this guy said to People Magazine, said, people are saying her death, talking about Betty White, was related to getting a booster shot 3 days earlier, but that is not true. She died of natural causes. Her death should not be politicized. That is not the life she lived. Hogan, he said, maybe we don't need a vaccine. This was back in 2020. He said, maybe we need to take this time of isolation from the distractions of the world and have a personal revival where we focus on the only thing in the world that really matters, Jesus.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Wow. How about
Hulk
that?
Hulk Hogan laying down the gospel.
Go figure. I would have thought he would have said something like "go exercise" or something. A guy that's like lived his life exercising. You would have think.
Well, here's what's funny to me. Here's the irony that I find. Hulk Hogan has spent his entire life sticking foreign substances in his body through the form of steroids. I mean, you want to talk about being juiced up. I know heavy-duty steroid users over the years. They've had heart attacks, heart bypasses. They've had all these things. So I don't know that I want to go real hard in the paint with Terry Bollea, or however Hulk Hogan says his last name, Bollea. I don't know how he says his last name. His daughter and his ex-wife do follow me on Twitter, though.
Interesting.
I hear from them every now and then. Not from Brooke, but I do hear from Linda.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. I mean, sometimes I'm like, do these people know what they're saying?
Yeah.
Linda's pretty sharp, though.
All I know of them is that TV show they had together,
Exactly.
like way back in the day, and like that was all I saw.
Well, let me tell you something. Don't do anything publicly with your wife. It does lead to divorce. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll laugh about it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's we'll see. We'll never know. That's what I was saying on Tuesday's show. Like if they'd have caught him, hanging by a belt naked, in a hotel room, everybody would have been like, oh yeah, see, they'd be talking about those kind of things. And I saw, you don't know what to believe. Somebody made a comment. They said, they found him in the state of like reaching for his left arm, which indicated maybe a heart attack. And
time. I think that's the thing is like we have to practice what we preach and give it the time to circulate. But in the event that it was actually that, they certainly wouldn't tell us.
They ain't gonna tell us. It's a sad deal anytime somebody dies.
Certainly.
Especially somebody that's well known and beloved for the characters that they play, those kind of things. People die.
They do.
I mean, we're all terminal, dude.
Yep.
We're all terminal.
It's true.
And it's like, Norm Macdonald that we lost recently. Now, Norm had cancer for 9 years.
Yeah.
He was in bad shape. And Norm, cool dude, super smart guy.
Yes.
But he did a comedy bit where he said, we're talking about coronavirus. He said, well, at least now we all know how we're going to die. Yeah. We just don't know in what order. And, he would come out hard on this coronavirus stuff, which it was, I think. But now, everybody get censored. They get shut down. You can't make jokes about it or anything. But at the end of the day, folks, this is the thing that I've been going back and forth about. Is like, I want to agree with Hulk Hogan. Take the time to maybe find some Jesus in your life because, look, we're all passing away. At some point in time, we're all headed out.
Yes.
This is a terminal generation.
Yep.
Whether COVID gets you or the city bus. But we're all on the way out.
Yep.
Hope everybody's happy on a Thursday as we're headed into the weekend now.
Yeah.
But here is some more hypocrisy. Washington, D.C. I don't know if you know this, but photo IDs are racist.
They are racist.
They're
yes.
racist.
They are racist.
If you're going to vote and they ask for your ID, that's racist. But if you're in D.C., you have to have an ID to go to restaurants, bars, movie theaters, or gyms in the name of COVID-19 safety. That's right. Democratic mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser's vaccine mandate set to go into effect in Washington on Saturday. Every business, entertainment venue, going to start doing it. So our buddy Yakubuians.
Yes.
Yaku. I was talking to him the other day, and he was just in L.A., and he went with a friend who was pretty high up with Lionsgate. I was actually represented by Lionsgate for a while, believe it or not. But he was like the head of Lionsgate. He just resigned because they were trying to force the vaccine.
Yeah.
And he was like, but the thing wasn't that they forced him to do it. They were going to force his children to do it.
What?
His children to do it. So they went to a restaurant in L.A., and they started going, it was a sushi place. And they said, we need to see your vaccine passport.
Yeah.
Right? Racist, but
yeah.
Well, minorities by and large aren't getting vaccinated. So
there's no
racist.
There's no Kinkos. They don't have a Kinkos or whatever she said. There's no Kinkos available. It's like okay. Got it.
So anyway, his buddy goes. He's from Texas. They don't do that. They're not worried about that. And he's like, so they just go in and sit down.
Yeah.
And the lady comes over, like the gym's like, and the guy eats in there all the time. Mm-hmm. And Yaku's like, hey, look, we can go eat, at a hamburger joint, whatever, I don't care. It's like, no, we're eating here. And so he's going to spend a lot of money in there. And they were like, he can't be in here. And he's like, he's going to eat here. He's fine. He's got it. He just doesn't carry a vaccine. They don't do that in Texas. We're not doing that. He's not going to do it. So he said it's kind of uncomfortable, but they went ahead and ate.
Huh.
So anyway, but Yaku, I mean, he's African American.
Science.
And Yaku's African American. He's from South Africa.
Yep.
I mean, he's whiter than me and you.
Yes.
But he's African American.
Basically, yeah.
So that's racist.
It is. It is racist.
It's science.
It's so obvious. It's so obvious that it's just like, how do people not see this? It's just the most tragic thing. I guess it's free comedy, but it is pretty tragic.
It's sad, dude.
Yes.
I saw a video. Send it over to Chris at the break, see if he can pull it. No pressure if not, but where the old lady's wrapped up in a shower curtain.
Yeah,
in the garage, and they're putting a kid up there to hug through the thing. Yeah, that's science. And what I want to do is I want to take a vacuum and just stick it in that shower curtain and just put it on reverse and suck. Yeah. Just watch grandma get vacuum sealed.
I know.
That's where my morbid mind goes. How dare you say that about grandma? Look, they're already stupid, okay? They're wrapped up in a shower curtain and supposedly stopping an airborne virus.
See, the question that I wonder is who chose to put them in that sheet? Was it the mom of the child because they didn't want the child to get sick? Because I would wager that it probably wasn't the woman that was in the sheet.
Yeah.
It was probably the mom. And like they've had these family arguments where they're like, my dad won't see me or vice versa. It's like you can't see your grandkids. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like, is that really what you're going to allow to happen?
Dude, it's unhealthy. Like she's kissing the kid through the plastic.
Right.
And I'm like, there's no, I'm like, that kid's going to have mental issues.
Certainly.
I mean, they put him in a shower curtain to hug grandma.
Right.
It's just like the lady in Texas the last week who put her kid in a trunk. Like I'm so interested in protecting everybody that I'm going to quarantine my child and drive to a testing center with the kid in the trunk of the car.
That's the psychosis. That's the thing is like they've been able to. The fact is that people don't critically think at all. It's like the fact that you're this vulnerable means to me that when there's something else, imagine if there was something that was actually worse than COVID. Imagine if that happened because like there have been bad things. So imagine if something actually literally was worse, what would happen then if they're already doing that? And that's 2 years later with all the therapeutics and all the vaccines and all this other stuff. And it's just like the evidence is clear. And it's like, put the kid in the trunk. That seems like a good idea. It's like, what's wrong with you, dude? Like,
low carbon monoxide never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hey, all you parents out there, listen, don't do what we just described about these others. Your kids need some good, wholesome entertainment, maybe even learn something out there. Help them out with Annie's Kit Clubs. They make it easy to give your kids an interactive project to keep their minds working and their hands off of all those devices. They got a new club called Genius Box. It's a great way to encourage their curiosity, introduce them to different STEM fields. Each month, your young scientists will get a new box full of the hands-on activities. There's going to be 3 of them per box. They get to explore things like geology, chemistry, aerodynamics, a whole lot more. Perfect for all kids ages 7 to 12. I wish I'd have had a Genius Box when my kids were smaller. They're pretty smart, but dang, I wish it could have helped them along with this. Love these kit clubs. The top secret mission envelope is in every box. Walks your kids through these amazing projects like designing a hovercraft, examining fossils, building robots. Your kids are going to love it. They're going to have fun. They're not even going to realize they're learning. Go to annieskitclub.com/Chad. Save 50% off your first box. That's annieskit, K-I-T, clubs.com. annieskitclubs.com/Chad. One more time, annieskitclubs.com/Chad. Be right back. All right, kids, welcome back. Welcome back. The world is crazy. Folks, the only thing worse than doing something dumb is doing something even dumber to try to make up for it. Now, if William Shakespeare didn't write that, he should have. Let me give you, for instance, there's a hospital in Rhode Island. They're seeing a new outbreak of COVID infections after it started allowing asymptomatic COVID-positive healthcare workers to keep working. Now, I'm going to pause for a moment to allow that to sink in, but my guess is that you're like me and none of this crap surprises you at this point. You're also probably one step ahead of me in the story in that in your mind immediately went to, wasn't they firing people 5 minutes ago for not taking the blah, blah, getting the juice and the boost? Yes, indeed, a decision which led to the sort of conditions in hospitals around the country where they were, you guessed it, short-staffed. My, how the chickens come home to roost, baby. Of all the occupations in the world that should be sending even mildly sick people home from work, hospitals rank pretty nearly at the top of the list, and yet here we are. Now, the hospital in question, they've denied that there's any connection between this policy and the sudden uptick in cases because, of course, Of course they have. Of course they have. That's what they do. So let me go down a slight rabbit hole here for just a second. Can you even begin to imagine how many medical lawsuits are coming down the pike over the next decade or so? We all know that every time a hospital or doctor makes a stupid decision, a lawyer gets his wings, right? Just imagine the almost certainly billions of dollars things like this happening all over the country is going to cost in the long run. Now, I'm not an overly litigious person, but I have to admit the thought kind of amuses me sometimes. Anyway, back to this shining example of pure unvarnished stupidity. The hospital claims that its COVID-positive staff were, with one exception, only working with COVID-positive patients. So it couldn't possibly be the case of the new cases emerging among the other patients in the hospitals that are related. Now, this may come as a shock to you. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV, but I will give you my opinion. Nevertheless, even I am aware of the strikingly larger transmissibility rate of the Omicron variant over its virulent forebears, which means I'm capable, by the powers of deductive reasoning, of coming to the conclusion that it damn well might be possible for this thing to spread throughout a hospital like wildfire. That's what it does. Because here's the thing, we're all human. And if you've paid attention at all over the past couple of years to all the hand-wringing hysteria, you know that even in the middle of it, people don't always follow protocol down to the letter. And even if they did, most of the protocols surrounding COVID were dreamed up in the early days of the first strain. We were so young. Remember those days? We were so naive, so young, so fresh, virginal even. Now, maybe in the long run, this is actually a good thing. Maybe it's the case that we all need to get Omicron and just get it over with. Maybe that even applies to people in the hospital for other reasons, although I wouldn't think that that's the best place and time to do it. But if we're all going to end up getting it in the end anyway, maybe now's the time. So here's a news flash. That doesn't change the fact that these people are idiots for having previously fired their staff members for not getting the juice, which likely wouldn't have stopped them from getting Omicron anyway. It doesn't excuse the jackasses on high that mandated it in the first place. Stupidity abounds in this crazy world, folks. But what do I know? Like I said, I'm no doctor. But that's the deal. Rhode Island, like this set is bigger than Rhode Island. And everybody's getting the Omicron. They're letting them go to work. But you know, again, people say, well, what difference does it make about Rhode Island? Well, here's the deal. They're doing it everywhere. This is just one of the cases that we're talking about. Yep. These hospitals are letting COVID positive, asymptomatic, vaccinated people come back to work. But people who have never had COVID or don't have COVID or test negative but have never been vaccinated can't go to work as a medical professional.
It's science.
Science.
Basically science.
Look, dude, here's what you got to do. You wrap them in a shower curtain. And you let them go in there. You cut little armholes. Just wrap them in the shower curtain. It works for grandma and grandbaby. It should be able to work for the nurses and the PAs and the NPs and the doctors and the surgeons and all of these people.
If they put a 2-foot piece of plexiglass in the room somewhere, that'll save them, I think.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Just a little square, and I think they'll be fine.
That's all you got to do. Just a little coughing glass. Yeah, I mean, it's like this is the salad bar.
Yeah.
Right? You just got the sneeze guard up there over the chow mein.
Except you lean around it because they can't hear you. Yeah, and you pull your diaper down, and you're like, oh yeah.
I went into a store the other day, and you're right. I went into a store the other day. I was hunting, and I got a thermos of coffee, and the person's behind the mask. They're behind the plexiglass, and all I hear is wah, 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 and I'm like, what? And so I literally leaned around the thing, and I'm like, what? Take the mask off. What are you saying to me?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to buy a $2 thermos of coffee, $7 in a Biden economy, but I'm like, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
But that's the deal. The plexiglass is going to save us all. It's going to save us all. Oh my gosh. Inflation. We woke up today, 7%. 7% inflation. That's actually, we talked about it earlier this week on the Tuesday episode about it's costing the average American $5,000 a year, this inflation. Mm-hmm. Insanity. When you're paying over $3.50 for a gallon of diesel in the state of Texas. I mean, there's people in California paying like $7.
Yeah.
How is it in Florida?
It's actually pretty good in Florida,
pretty good?
But I'm lucky that I work from home, so I don't drive all that much.
Yeah.
So I kind of tune it out, but it is more expensive than it ever was as far as I've seen.
Well, doing a campaign, driving all over the state, trust me, it's expensive.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's expensive. Which, by the way, tomorrow night I'll be in Paris, Texas. And actually, that's tonight. Tonight's Thursday. Yeah, we're taping on a different day. But Saturday going to be in Longview, Leon's Steakhouse and Saloon.
Nice.
Doesn't that sound like a COVID outbreak?
Yeah.
We're going to have a Freedom Fest, America Fest, Texas Fest. I don't know what we're calling it.
Super spreader event.
We're going to have a rally. I did a show in Mesa, Arizona. Listeners have heard this with Jill Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel's sister. She was opening for me. And she's super liberal, right? I get it, but she's funny. Sure. She's sweet. Yep. She's a Kimmel. Yeah. But anyway, she comes in there and she goes, my friend told me not to come do this show because she said I was guaranteed to get COVID because this is going to be a room full of mouth breathers.
Oh, my God.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, I'm going to use that on stage.
Yeah.
But no, that's, anyway, that's where we're at. 7% inflation. And, just keep on going. Keep on going. Joe Biden, he doesn't know.
It's probably higher than that. I mean, the way that they track inflation in the first place is pretty flawed in and of itself.
Well, I've pretty much made a commitment because one thing COVID has killed effectively is the restaurant and service industry.
Yes.
I mean, you can't even go to a drive-through. I mean, you're going to wait forever, and then your food's going to be garbage, which is garbage anyway. But I expect it to be quality garbage.
Yeah.
Right?
With no potatoes now, too.
No potatoes.
Not a potato in sight.
So I'm reasonably committed to just like cooking at home. When I'm home, like just making my own food. I know enough people around the state. I'm just going to go squat. I'm just going to stay at their house when I'm traveling. I'm done eating out. I really am. And people even people that the servers, the waiters, whatever you want to call them, probably racist to call them. I don't even know anymore. They don't give a crap about their job. I will give a shout out to Tris. In the Woodlands. I ate at that steakhouse the other night, and let me tell you, my boy Michael, he took care of us in there. It was solid. And I told him too, I said, you know what, in this day and age, you're doing a hell of a job. Yeah. Doing a hell of a job. Because there is that's a service industry matters. Yeah. I was a bartender at one point in time. Mm-hmm. It matters doing a good quality job. They don't care anymore.
My favorite thing now is seeing when the waiters don't have to wear a diaper on their face. Yeah. It's just like, wow, I don't feel any less threatened by any stretch that this person is not doing this.
See, being in Texas, you being in Florida, we kind of take that for granted in some places. But anyway, I don't want you coming at me with that bio filth on your face. And it's like, and then where are you disposing of it? You just throw it out on the street. I call it sheep shit.
No, you throw it in the ocean.
Throw it in the ocean.
Directly into the ocean. Find a beluga whale and stuff it in the...
Stuff it right in the blowhole.
That's what they want.
I mean, my God. So look at liberals. Just in the space of 18 months, they've gone from loving the planet to destroying the planet with this biohazard and then and this waste that takes, these masses that take 400 years to biodegrade. And then they went from saying that IDs are racist to now you got to do it just to go in a restaurant. I bet there's going to be some more hypocrisy right after the break. We'll be right back. Yep, the world's gone crazy. Inflation, we talked about that. Gavin Newsom, budget proposal extends universal health care for California's 1.1 million illegal aliens. He doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
Doesn't care. Couldn't do the health care. We're in a health crisis, but let's just bring them in. Let's just bring everybody here.
Yeah, tax them out. Just tax all the people the way. Tax them, send them here, send them to Florida. That'll be fine. That'll definitely be fine.
That'll just bring them in here. Then there was a driver who drove through the KFC restaurant before backing into a house and assaulted the homeowner's wife when he came in the residence. So the homeowner, you know what he did? Shot him dead.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He should have put hand sanitizer on him and tased him.
That would have been good.
For a little bit of excitement there.
That does work.
How dare you make fun of that poor guy died? And the guy was fighting the cops.
First mistake.
And then, of course, the American Red Cross, for the first time in history, declares a national blood shortage emergency. I'm keeping all my blood. But that's the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic is causing a decline in donor turnouts. Shocker.
Yeah. When you give everybody fear porn and tell them that they can't go have a muffin in a place without them getting the corona clap, they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to stay at the house.
But apparently those COVID tests are orgasmic because people are lined up to get those things.
Oh, yeah.
Just to go find out if you are sick.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah. With other people that think they're sick. Outside in the cold where you're highly likely to get sick.
It makes a lot of sense.
Seems reasonable, yeah.
Speaking of reasonable, let's play this TikTok, Chris. Go.
My name is Magistra Y. I'm non-binary, and I am a high school teacher. So today I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what I've done and what my school has done to make me feel comfortable out as non-binary at my school. The first thing is really easy. I wear a pronoun pin every day. This works as a visual cue for my students. When I introduced myself to my students, I also gave them some example sentences for those students who weren't as familiar with using they, them pronouns. So I told them, you could say, oh, I have Magistra Y's class next. They teach Latin. I wanted to have a few visual cues in my classroom to show students that it is a welcoming and inclusive place. So one of the things I did was I put a pride flag on my desk.
No.
I'll take a pause here and say I am very, very lucky to teach at the school I teach at. They are very openly devoted to diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Those are some of the things that I've done, but what about my school? I use the title Magistra instead of Mr. or Miss, and the IT team actually managed to code it into the system, so anytime my name pops up, it comes up with Magistra Y instead of Mr. or Miss. I've had a lot of colleagues ask me really insightful questions about my gender and my pronouns and my experience, and in general, they have created a really welcoming environment. And I don't think they did this on purpose, but my classroom is right next to the gender-neutral bathroom.
Good God. You know, I thought word problems were hard in math class.
Yeah.
What, Magistra? Magistra Y.
And that's a great question. Why? Literal why?
Magistra what? Magistra Y.
Yeah.
She did manage to answer all the who, what, why, when, where, and hows on that. I mean, she thoroughly covered that. But like, if the train leaves the station at 3:15 and drives down a binary track towards a gender-neutral destination, at what point does RIP get to blow your head off on Yellowstone? I mean, like, that's my word problem.
Yeah. How many Magistras does it take till you leave the station? It's like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? These kids don't know what's going on. This is like manipulation of the English language. Like, this is a tragedy.
I mean, one of her students just found hair on his pecker last week, and he's trying to sort out her pronouns. I'm like, stop it. This is child abuse at this point.
Yes.
And then what are you going to do? You're going to condemn a kid? You're going to throw the pride flag out there? I mean, go eat the O-ring out of some chick down the hall. But my God, leave your hands off my kids. Stop indoctrinating with your garbage BS. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And maybe while you're eating the O-ring, send pics. I don't know.
Yeah. Magistra Y. Why?
Magistra Y.
Actually, why, though?
Magistra, yes. I'll tell you why. I'm getting that Magistra right there. And occasionally, like, these are reasonably attractive people sometimes, Chris, that'll do it, you know? And I'm like, who's not showing you attention?
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen them yet. I don't know. Or
there's a couple of them that are out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, we've even seen some of the dudes dressed up like girls and be like, you know what? I'd probably all right. I could get confused. I could see myself after a Tequila Tuesday, you know, looking for a taco and finding
Tuesday.
Finding the terlingua.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I feel for these kids, though. That's why I keep telling you, get your kids out of this public school system. Get them out of there, because this is the stuff, man. You know what? And I want a visual cue, so I'm going to give them the pride flag.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, they need more than a cue. You need a handbook.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to connect the dots at this point.
And a pin. It's like, is this happening in the real world? Are we looking for pins? Are we looking for what flag is nearby a person as we walk down the street? What does this teach you about the real world?
Yeah.
Like, these kids should be learning about actual things that matter.
I mean, you remember
when
Dora the Explorer had a backpack and a map to find a destination. These people, they're totally confused. There ain't no map to navigate this nonsense.
That's right.
Oh, my God. Hang tight. We'll be right back.
I told you, Chad. I told you that was a good one.
Make sure you're following Take Naps at Take Naps on Instagram. That's Bobby Sauce. BobbySauce.com is the one-stop shop for all things Bobby Sausalito. Go check him out. Thanks for being on the last 2 days, man.
My pleasure.
We're going to do this again.
Yes.
We're going to do this again. Hang out. We're going to do some live stuff, too. We'll have fun. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Of course, you can always go donate at Prather2022.com. I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but I just did it. Whatever, violate me. I'm a walking violation. Chad on Blaze.com's got the new merch. Go get it. Taxation is theft. Go grab that, as well as ChadNude.com, the most provocative place ever. Sign up and do it. We love you. God bless you. Talk to you next time. Bye.